Madam Web is one of the worst movies ever made. And I haven't even seen it, but I know this, okay? If you are not aware of what Madam Web is, I'm going to explain it to you here, right? Madam Web is a, I guess, comic book superhero movie based on a Marvel villain, Madam Web, who is one of Spider-Man's villains. But it is not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's kind of part of why I think this movie sucks so much, but I'll get into it. Stars Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney, plus two other people, don't know who they are. Doesn't even matter because this movie sucks. I'm not researching it. I don't care. Basically, I knew from the start that this movie was going to suck because this is from the same studio that made like the Venom movies and that Morbius movie, which was horrible. And here's the lowdown on what these movies are, if you're totally unaware. Basically, there's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? And then there's like this thing called the Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe. And what it is Spider-Man, the movie rights to the character of Spider-Man were owned by Sony. And they made the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, and then they made the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield. And then Spider-Man couldn't be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even though he's one of their most popular characters, one of Marvel's most iconic characters. I would argue Spider-Man is probably the most iconic modern superhero. And when I think superheroes that everybody knows, I would think Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. They're the top three. I think that's what I reckon most people would know. And so basically, Marvel just wanted Spider-Man in the MCU so bad that they negotiated a deal with Sony where they could use the character of Spider-Man. That all went through. Tom Holland became the new Spider-Man for the MCU. But Sony still had rights to a bunch of the other Sony Marvel characters in the Spider-Man universe. Hence why they started making these Sony Marvel Universe films that featured Spider-Man characters. For example, as I said, they made Venom, they then made Morbius, and those films were pretty bad. Like, generally speaking, they were pretty average movies. And I actually think that Sony's goal with these movies is to use the properties they have license to, right? Use Morbius, use Madam Web, use Venom, who are all like Spider-Man villains in the comics, right? They want to use them and confuse average casual moviegoers, confuse them into thinking that they are Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, which they are not. But they want to be like, yeah, no, they are, and keep it all like ambiguous and like marketing wise try to make it appear as though they are MCU movies to try and get casual people to think that and go and see them when they are not, right? Personally, I think it's really bad for the wider Marvel brand. It's like diluting the MCU. People generally get confused about this stuff and don't know about it. And it really, like, to me, it's a really bad idea, but I don't think Marvel can do much about it. And I knew this movie was going to be crap. I saw the trailers like, this movie is definitely going to suck. And it does. I've watched a bunch of reviews. I've read a bunch of reviews. I've seen a lot of content around this movie. Apparently it is genuinely like a pathetic, disgraceful movie. And I think a really good sign that a movie is bad is when actors in the movie are doing like a press tour or a press junket or just general media around the movie. And you can tell in this media, in their press, that they don't like the movie. And you can tell that they are embarrassed by the movie and don't want to be associated with it, but they are contractually obliged to do these media kind of press junkets and press tours and stuff. It's in their contract, so they have to do it, but you can tell they hate the movie, they know it's a bad movie, and they don't want to be associated with it, but they have to do it. Dakota Johnson, who is the main character in the film, who is a fantastic actor, by the way, in everything I've seen her in, but she clearly knows this movie sucks and hates being associated with it. I've seen a lot. I actually just saw a TikTok that was summing it up pretty, like, had a bunch of moments from Dakota Johnson where it's just clear she does not give a shit about this and wants it in her past. Here's a little compilation.
Dakota Johnson's chaotic Madam Web press tour.
What do you see for the future of Madam Web?
Well, it is a standalone
whirl. Honestly, it depends if Sony's happy with how the movie does.
I actually have not seen the final film, but I think from what I saw, it looks really good.
I never really saw myself in a superhero film.
I don't know the timeliness of her saying I haven't seen the final film, but like, come on. You haven't seen the final film. Like, she clearly does not give a shit, and clearly no one gives a shit. I think everyone during the production on this film knew it was a sinking ship and was like, fuck, we have to like pretend we care about this and pretend to market it. They all knew it was gonna flop, right? And then I think she just, like, she clearly has no passion for the brand, which I get, but I don't think she should have. I don't know how she ended up in a lead role in this movie when she clearly doesn't have passion for the brand.
Can you name the 3 Spider-Man Tom Holland movies?
Yeah.
Should I just go on faith?
Yeah.
Oh.
Spider-Man, here he comes.
Here he comes.
That's number 1.
Yep.
Spider-Man, and he's back. And the other one, the last one is the Goblet of Spider-Man.
I think for me, like, it's clear to me she has no passion for this brand or like this movie at all. And like, I think that's disappointing. I can understand why she's doing this, but it's clear to me that, yeah, she just doesn't care, but also that she didn't even put any work into like trying to understand the world or trying to understand the characters. She says she's like hasn't read the comics, which I feel like if I was cast, you know, in a movie based on a source material, whatever it is, let's just say in an alternate universe, I am cast as Professor Lupin in the new Harry Potter TV series, and I've never read Harry Potter. I'm gonna go and read Harry Potter to like completely understand this character. And I feel like that's base level for an actor. Like, that's your job. But I feel like, I don't know how she's ended up in this role. It does feel like maybe Sony's just paid a lot of money to get big names like Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney, particularly Sydney Sweeney, who's very like hot at the moment. She's very known at the moment. Like, how do we get these people in our movies? Let's just give them a lot of money to get them to do this, even though they probably all knew it was going to be bad. It is really disappointing, but I don't know what anyone expected from this. Like, any Sony Marvel Universe movie is going to be shit, and you shouldn't see it. And almost ready to say the same about general Marvel movies. Like, I haven't seen a bunch of the last few, and the ones I had were really bad.